Welcome back to Parenting Roadmaps. This is episode number 12 of the preschool series. I don't know if you've realized this, but your preschooler is growing up quickly. The goal of these short weekly videos is to help you navigate this journey, making sure you enjoy all the amazing sights along the way. Today, we are playing with Play-Doh. Our last episode was on fine motor skills, and it set the stage for talking about Play-Doh today. Before we dig in, safety first. Preschoolers need adult supervision, even with Play-Doh. You can use a variety of toys and tools with Play-Doh, but you need to make sure that what is offered is developmentally appropriate for the kids at the table. Okay, let's get rolling with Play-Doh. Fine motor skills and Play-Doh. This one is a bit of a no-brainer, right? Take a ball of Play-Doh and your fingers and hands are going to get a workout. What makes Play-Doh unique and why people who work with preschoolers really love Play-Doh is you're also working on proprioception. We were introduced to proprioception in the playground episode. Proprioception is the ability to know where our body parts are without having to look at them, and understanding how much force we use when we push or pull. The information for proprioception comes into our body through the receptors in our joints and muscles. Play-Doh gives your kiddo amazing feedback. As you push and pull on the Play-Doh, the receptors in the joints and muscles of your hands and fingers are sensing the resistance from the Play-Doh, while your brain is deciding, am I pulling too hard? Do I need to push harder? Or is this just right? Why is this important for your fingers and hands? Well, think about a pencil. What happens when you push too hard? And what happens when you don't press hard enough? Adults don't think twice about this, but for a preschooler, controlling the pressure when you hold something in your hand is a skill to be learned. And guess what? Play-Doh is an amazing teacher. There are so many great ways of increasing fine motor strength in the hands with Play-Doh. Even though we're talking about small muscle movement, you can think about playing with Play-Doh in big and small ways, and also using one or two hands. Let's start with some bigger movements, working on your whole hand. And I'll be using official preschool terminology here. Squishing. Putting the Play-Doh in your hand and giving it a good squeeze. Smashing, using your whole hand or both hands to flatten the Play-Doh. Pounding, clenching your fist and beating the Play-Doh flat, using one hand, two hands together, or alternating. Rolling, between the palms of your two hands, on the table with one hand, or rolling the Play-Doh out thin, like a snake, with one hand or two hands. Now for some smaller movements using fingers, starting super easy. Pressing your finger or several fingers into the dough. Pinching. Pinching the Play-Doh between your pointer finger or any finger and the thumb. Pulling. Pulling the Play-Doh apart with one finger or several fingers. A more challenging skill is rolling a small ball between your finger and thumb. This one may take some extra practice. Now, what about some toys and tools? Rolling pins, forks, spoons, whisks, and maybe a spatula for flipping pancakes. Honestly, anything is fair game here. Tool selection is going to come down to what you as a parent are comfortable with your child using and what you're okay getting covered in Play-Doh. The kitchen can be a great resource, but remember, items need to be developmentally appropriate. I do want to highlight two specific activities. First, marking into the Play-Doh. You can use a pencil or any type of stick and make marks in the Play-Doh. Second, cutting the Play-Doh. You can snip at or through the Play-Doh really when it's in any form. However, when it is rolled out thinner, snake-like, your child can use the helping hand to hold the Play-Doh and the dominant hand to cut the Play-Doh. This shape is easier for their helping hand to manage and their dominant hand to cut through. In both situations, your child's proprioception is getting some amazing feedback. If you want to leave a mark on the Play-Doh, how hard am I going to have to press? Is that too much? And for cutting, how much force does it take to cut through the Play-Doh? Okay, with all of that info on Play-Doh, it's big picture time. We focused on fine motor skills and proprioception, but we would totally be missing the big picture here if we didn't acknowledge that Play-Doh is so much more. Just like with playgrounds, Play-Doh can so easily incorporate all the domains of childhood development. When playing with Play-Doh, there is always conversation around the table about what is being created. It's a great time to share, taking turns with different toys and tools. With Play-Doh, the imagination can run wild. And be sure to make Play-Doh time fun. As long as your child is engaged in the activity, they are going to work on strengthening their fine motor skills. The longer your child stays engaged, the more practice their muscles will get, and the more likely they are to want to get the Play-Doh out again, and that will be what benefits them most. Next week, the social and emotional domain, so stay tuned. And as always, remember to enjoy the journey.